Rams make a surprising move. Multiple Rams updates to get into as some key changes to the special teams unit for this week and injury updates heading into this week's matchup against the 49ers and a score prediction to end it off. All that and more on this episode of Rams Digest. And welcome back to another episode of Rams Digest. I'm your host, Joshua Finehirsh. And before we get into today's video, make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We're on the road to 5K, 5,000 subscribers. So if you want to be a part of that journey, make sure to hit that sub button right now and click that notification bell. Click all so you get notified and never miss whenever we upload our daily new Rams Digest video content pieces covering all things Rams so you do not miss a beat this NFL season. And make sure to leave a like on this video as well. Week 9 officially underway last night. The Broncos and Raiders had a game. We'll say that. The Broncos won 10-7 in that one. And Josh and I will be back streaming on a Sunday, so leave a like for that if you are going to be joining our live stream, which you should do. It's always a fun time. We interact with chat a lot. We let you predict plays as well, so it's always a good experience. Josh and I should be live at around 1:10, 1:15-ish. I know I was saying 12:50. I thought it was a 1:05 kickoff. It is actually a 1:25 p.m. Pacific time kickoff, so it's going to be a little bit later of a stream than it was this past Sunday, but make sure to still tune in regardless of that. And now we have to get into our main story of today, which is some key changes happening to the special teams unit for this game against the 49ers. And this is from Stu Jackson of the Rams.com, which we will be getting into right now. Rams head coach Sean McVay today announced that Harrison Mevis will be the team's kicker for this week's Week 10 game against the 49ers at Levi's Stadium. That is the big news. The shocking move of the day is that Mevis, just a few days after being signed, is already going to be the starting kicker for this upcoming game against the 49ers. And McVay also confirmed that Jake McQuaid, former Ram who was re-signed earlier this week as well, will be the team's long snapper on Sunday. Also, so Sean McVay did have some words to say about these moves, which we are going to get into right now. There's a lot of layers to it, McVay said prior to Friday's practice when asked what led him to make the decision to start Mevis instead of incumbent Josh McCarty. I still do have a lot of confidence in Josh Carty. He's not going anywhere. But based on just some of the things that we tried to evaluate throughout the course of the week, those guys both did a really good job. I was really pleased and really impressed and proud of how Josh handled himself this week. I think he's got a really bright future. I think he's done a lot of really good things for us, but all the things that went into it in terms of just ultimately, in its simplest form, who I think gives us the best chance to have successful outcomes, particularly in that operation given the factors on Sunday against the Niners. Yeah, I get what he means. You're going against a very competent defense in the 49ers, regardless of all their injuries to Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, and others. That it's still Robert Saleh, who we know did not work out with the Jets, but has been a great coordinator for the Niners through every stop that he's been there. So you have to be ready. And I think a change is necessary at this point, especially if it looks like Mevis did have a slightly better week of practice, and Jake McQuaid's a guy who McVay's familiar with. Made 2 Pro Bowls, actually, as a Ram in 2016 and 17, the undrafted free agent from The Ohio State University in 2011. Yeah, he was a very good Ram, good Cowboy as well, but after that, it didn't really have the most impact. But now he is back here. He's age 37, so you do get concerned about that. But I think for one game, it is the right move to make some changes. And the Rams signed Mevis to their practice squad on Tuesday after working him out earlier this week to compete with Carty for the job. Originally entering the NFL draft as an undrafted free agent out of Missouri in 2024, prior to signing with the Panthers practice squad, Mevis played for the UFL's Birmingham Stallions earlier this year, where he converted 21 of his 23 field goal attempts, 91.3%, with a long of 56 yards. However, both of his misses came from over 50 yards, which is where I kind of want kickers' misses to be. Like, if you miss a 59-yard field goal, I'm not really putting that against you unless if you're just really, really off. And I mean, as long as you're hitting what you need to hit. Like, if you're hitting 91% of your field goals, you're a starting kicker. I mean, you're not gonna go perfect. I don't expect any kicker to kick perfectly. Even peak, Adam Vinatieri is not kicking the ball perfectly. I mean, Brandon Aubrey might be kicking it perfectly right now. I mean, that guy's by far the best kicker in football right now. But still, for Mevis, the best thing for him to do is just play his game. I mean, Sean McVay believes in him for today. I shouldn't say for today. He does believe in him today, but going into this week's game, and just play your game. That's what they should be telling him, play your game. Again, I also do believe Coach Blackburn could be coaching for his job, because if Mevis is still not kicking well, he could also chalk that up to nerves, being that it will be his first ever NFL game that he's kicking in. But If he's really off still and these changes don't work, then I think you really need to point to Coach Blackburn and say, hey man, listen, I know you've been here for a little bit. I respect you as a coach, but it may be time to go another direction for the betterment of this squad. You never want to see anybody lose their jobs. I mean, Cardi for right now is still on the roster, so he is still getting paid, but you never want to see anybody get a demotion. But right now for Cardi, I think this is very necessary for him. And through week 9, Cardi had made 10 of 15 field goal attempts, 66.7%, and 23 of 26 extra point attempts. Though McVay and special teams coordinator Chase Blackburn have said the miscues in that operation weren't solely on him, which I do agree with. I mean, the blocking is not on Josh McCarty whatsoever. Like, as soon as the ball is snapped, there's no reason why any player... I mean, I get Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter are just massive human beings, but besides, really, Jordan Davis, there's probably really nobody who should be able to really just push through your entire line like that Saints player last week. I forget who it was, but he just basically pushed over right through in a second, and it's like I have no chance to get the ball off, really. And he probably should have blocked that kick, but... And then that is up one point I do agree with, that this is not all on Josh McCarty, but if Mevis does continuously kick better, and there are less blocks and the line's better with McQuaid, then I do think these changes will make sense. And we have another quote from McVay to get into right now. When we sit down and talk to Josh, there's really 3 possible scenarios, McVay said, when asked if the evaluation of the kicker position will be a continuous one. We'll sit down on Monday and we'll say we're going to continue to go with Mevis and he'll work and continue to get better on his own. We'll go back to him, or we'll continuously have this competition. So what I can't predict is the future, but I do think that this is going to be the best thing for this game, but feel like we've got 2 good kickers on our team. Do I believe him when he says we got 2 good kickers? I don't fully know, but I think that's what you have to do. Again, this game is kind of being used as a trial game for Mevis. I mean, Jake McQuaid, I think that is going to be more of a permanent fix for Alex Ward, who hasn't really... The snapping itself has been fine. It's mainly been the blocking with him that's kind of been the issue. So I do agree with McVay that this isn't an end-all be-all for Cardi and for Blackburn, but if Mevis is hitting everything, then it's going to be quite tough to go back to Cardi, especially after the performances that he's had throughout really the last few weeks of the regular season. And we do have some more as well to get into with these quotes that I'm going to show you right now. I think he's handling himself well. He's kicked in a lot of big games. You go back to his career in Missouri, and there's always those factors that come into it. But I think at the end of the day, you have to have the clarity and the courage to be able to make the decisions that you think are best. And this is what we think is the best way to be able to move forward. And I think our team has handled the preparation the right way. That is Sean McVay talking about Mevis. And I do agree. Again, being at Missouri, that is important. SEC school obviously holds the SEC record, as I mentioned in my last video, for the longest field goal ever in that conference's storied history of 61 yards. So he does have a strong leg, which I like. I mean, we're not going to ask him to do what Cam Little did and hit a 68-yard field goal. But I do think he's kicked in big games. He's kicked at the pro level before. I know it's not in the NFL, but the UFL, it's solid comp. It's all players who have a shot to go into the NFL, and that's the reason why they're playing there. So I understand why they did this again. And I do think Mevis is going to handle himself well. I mean, he should be ready. I'm not afraid for him. I shouldn't say I'm not afraid whatsoever about what's going to happen, but I'm not afraid that he's going to be too nervous for the moment. That he's going to be ready. He's got good teammates around him. The coaching staff believes in him right now, and I think that is all necessary. And we do have one final quote to get into from McVay, which I will show you right now. I think when you lean in, I don't want to get too granular with you guys for different reasons that it hasn't gone down, but there's going to be an intentional approach. All hands on deck, which that's always been the case, McVay said during Monday's presser. We'll learn more and we'll lean in more than we have. Sorry about that there. I just refuse to believe that this isn't something that we can fix. We're going to continue to fight, scratch, and claw to be able to give the techniques, the fundamentals, and get the right people in the right spots, then ultimately understand what is going to be required for us to execute at a high clip. In a phase that is supremely important. It's cost us through the first 5 weeks. I mean, it's cost us through more than the first 5 weeks. I think he meant to say there for the last 5. But yeah, I agree. The kicking team is kind of really what's holding back this Rams team. McVay has also said recently that this is like the most all hands on deck he's had to be for any really particular team / unit. So I'm really interested to kind of see just how he's going to perform and how this new unit works, because I know McVay is stressing about it, Coach Blackburn's stressing about it because he's coaching for his job. as I said, and I do think that this game is going to be a tell-all for Josh McCarty. Again, if Mevis is not great and he's missing wide right, wide left, and not even close, then I think you have a Blackburn problem. And again, if Mevis is making it, everything, then you probably go with him for the next couple of games. I don't think you totally write off Josh McCarty yet, just because, again, he's also still very young. It's only year 2, and year 1 was a pretty decent rookie season, so I'm not out on Carty being a good kicker in the future, but right now I do think you have to try to go with Mevis, the thicker kicker, as they call him, to see just how exactly he's going to perform. And comment down below right now what you think about this situation as a whole, because I do agree with this move to try somebody new at the kicker position. I think you have to see what you're doing. And Coach McVay couldn't sit on his hands and say, oh, we're just going to roll with what we have because it's not working. Jake McQuaid, by the way, is replacing Alex Ward, who's been their long snapper for the past 2.5 seasons here on the Rams. So Alex Ward as well still on the roster. Again, the blocking hasn't been great. The snapping hasn't been the issue, but McQuaid, given his experience, I think will be able to help the line and be able to read out communications better, read defenses better to make sure the blocking is all set. So comment down below what you think about Jake McQuaid being back on the Rams and starting this week as well. I know Josh made a video dedicated to that earlier in this week. So after this one, if you missed that, make sure to go back to that. And I also made a video talking more in depth about Mevis as a player on my last video. So again, after this, go back to that. But comment down below right now what you think of this whole process as well. And now I have to get into some injury updates as we head into this week's matchup against the Niners. Also from Stu Jackson at therams.com, which we will get to right now. Wide receiver Puka Nacua and cornerback Kyren Williams are carrying no designations on Friday's injury report, which means they're good to go for Sunday's game against the Niners at Levi Stadium. And this is great news. Obviously, Puka with the chest injury suffered at the end of last game. You thought maybe they'd hold him out for a week, but scans came back clean. He practiced in full the last 2 days, so he's all good to go. Kyren Williams with the shoulder is back in as well. I wonder what this means for Roger McCreary's playing time, the guy that you just traded for. I understand why he didn't play at all last week, but I'd like to see him more active this week as well. But 2 key players coming back this week for the Rams. And although wide receiver Jordan Whittington was limited in today's practice with a back injury, head coach Sean McVay said he expects him to be able to play Sunday, which is also big as there's no Tutu Atwell. Whittington not really used at all against the Rams, but I do believe he will have more targets coming his way in this one. And for the Niners, no Ricky Pearsall with a knee injury, and DN Michael Williams, obviously with the torn ACL, were both ruled out. Quarterback Brock Purdy is not starting. This was published before that, but Adam Schefter did report a couple hours ago from when I'm recording this that Mac Jones will be starting. Purdy is questionable to be active, though. And D. Winters, with, I guess, 2 knee injuries here, is among 7 listed as questionable, the linebacker for Sunday's game. So again, for the Niners, just can't avoid the injury bug. It's unfortunate for them because you saw what they've been able to do when fully healthy. They make it far in the playoffs, but obviously injuries, they don't help. Mac Jones, by the way, give him some credit. He's been playing pretty well so far throughout this year. So fair play, but again, for the Niners, no Ricky Pearsall. George Kittle will be back. Obviously, Kittle been playing the last few weeks, still looking like the George Kittle that we're so used to seeing, and he's going to be a problem, especially now that you have Kittle and McCaffrey healthy. This is going to be tough, and you have the Ram Destroyer in Kendrick Bourne coming back out there as well, along with the former Ram Demarcus Robinson, Juwan Jennings as well, going to be healthy. So this offense is going to be healthier when they face the Rams. Unfortunately, the defense will not be. Obviously, Fred Warner's been out for the last few weeks and out for the rest of the year with that lower leg injury too. So definitely going to be a tough game here for the Rams. I do expect them to keep on doing the similar things they've been doing offensively in terms of game plan, and defensively mix it up a little bit, because whatever he did last time against Mac Jones did not work. So you got to mix it up a little bit. You got to get to him to see how this game is going to change in favor of the Rams, because this is a must-win game here, because when you're looking at the games coming up, you have Niners this week, Seahawks next week, then the Bucks, and then surprisingly the Panthers are not going to be a cakewalk game. The Panthers are definitely a lesser team than the 3 teams you're about to play, but they're not a terrible team. Like, you're going to have to come ready to play against them. The Packers didn't, and you saw what happened. Jordan Love not looking good. They had a very bad dropped interception. They should have intercepted that. But besides that, elite defensive game. Obviously, Rico Dowdle going off for the Panthers, but that's besides the point. 4 tough games coming up for this Rams team. So you really want to try to go 3-1 in these. It's going to be tough to go 4-0, but if you go 4-0, you're going to win the Super Bowl. In my opinion, if the Rams go 4-0 here, I really think they can win the Super Bowl. So for my score prediction on this game, I think it's going to be a pretty similar score to last time. It's going to be a tough defensive game. Santa Clara going to be a little cooler than it will be in the LA area. So I am going to have the Rams winning 24-20. I think it's going to be a pretty close game here. Decently scoring game as well. Rams winning by 4. Comment down below what you think the score will be for this game. And that is all for this episode of Rams Digest. Make sure to hit that subscribe button right now. We're on the road to 5K, 5,000 subscribers. So if you want to be a part of that journey, make sure to hit that sub button, click that notification bell, click all so you get notified and never miss whenever we post our daily new Rams Digest video content pieces covering all things Rams, so you do not miss a beat this NFL season. Make sure to leave a like on this video for Week 9 being in the books. Leave a like for Rams-Niners on Sunday. Should be a tough game, tough divisional rivalry, as it always will be. We welcome 49ers fans into the chat as well, as long as everyone's keeping it respectful. And also, leave a like for the stream coming up this Sunday. Josh and I back at it around 1:10, 1:15 p.m. Pacific time. Like this video if you'll be joining. Comment down below right now your thoughts on the kicking and special team situation. Do you think the additions of Mevis and McVay will help with this kicking unit? What should they do if it doesn't? And if it does, is Cardi off of the roster? Leave that down below in the comments. Comment down below now your score prediction as well. I said 24-20, the Rams going out on top with a victory here in Week 10. I've been your host, Joshua Finehirsh. As always, thank you very much for watching another episode of Rams Digest. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you soon for another one, and have a great rest of your day.